Call the meeting to order, February 8th.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Convening as the Walworth County Planning and Zoning Board. Is there any old business? Any new business?
Hearing none, I'll make a recommendation for a motion to adjourn.
We got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
I'll second.
Second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Convening as a Walworth County Board of Zoning Adjustment. Is there any old business? New business? Hearing none, I take a motion. Taking a motion on the floor, I need a second.
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Convene as the Board of County Commissioners. I need a motion to approve the Commission Planning and Zoning and Zoning Adjustment Minutes for July 17, 2018. Take a motion for that.
I did see one problem on that. On that contingency bond election. Oh wait, that's the commission. Never mind, different meeting.
That's what this is.
Oh, okay. On the one from July 23rd, contingency bond election part of it, the voting shows 3-0.
Okay.
I believe it was 5-0.
3-2.
3-2. 3-2.
I'll change that. This is the July 17th minutes that we're on right now.
Okay.
Take a motion to approve them. Okay, got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. I need a motion to approve County Commission minutes of July 23rd.
That's the ones that need a correction on there. Make a motion to approve with corrections.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. I need a second. Second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Everybody had a chance to go over the claims? Okay, I got a motion on the floor. I need a second. Got a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Okay, I see some faces in here. Luke, why don't you introduce yourself to us, new employee?
My name is Luke Whitehall. I'm the new Walworth County Emergency Manager. You were kind enough to entrust with me the safety of Walworth County, so it's only fair that I feel I need to reciprocate that with letting you know that I'll try and pull my fair share of the weight, if not a little more. So, started yesterday, so if you have any questions, I'll either be in that desk over there or down at the highway department.
Thank you, nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks.
Steve, you're here for,
I'm up next.
yes.
Well, I'm going to talk about water. There's three of us that live just west of town on 130th Street, just west of the motel. And we've got a water issue there. In fact, Scott, you were out a couple years ago, did some elevations for us, and we followed through with what you said, and it all worked. We get an inch or two of rain down there, we're in good shape because of what we've done. When we got the deluge, the county got here a while ago, we got 4.5 inches of rain out of that. And it came down that north side of that ditch, hit the small culvert. There's a Mike Woodley's place, my place, and a Brad East. We're all on the north side of that gravel road. It hit that driveway, that little culvert couldn't handle it, came over, came to the culvert that's supposed to take it south of the road. Now that culvert couldn't handle it, so it backed up into Mike's yard, flooded his basement, came over the driveway, flooded my yard, and then proceeded to Brad's place and flooded his. I guess what we're requesting is, could we possibly get another culvert put in to cross the road to the south where the water is supposed to go? It's supposed to go to the, what I call the golf course creek. And there's a creek that takes it there, but that culvert couldn't handle it. We're wondering if we get another culvert put in that would cross the road to the south, just on the east side of Mike Woodley's driveway. It would stop the water from his driveway. It would take a lot of the pressure off when we get these big rains. Say, yeah, we get 7 or 8 inches of rain, I guess all bets are off. But I think it would handle a lot of these rains that come from the east. And I guess that's what, I talked to Mike Sunday night. Brad couldn't be here, he has a conflict. But we all three are making that request, if we can get that culvert put in. A larger culvert to take it and intercept that water before it gets to us. And wondering if that could be done.
What's in there now, Penny? I guess I don't remember off the top of my head what's there.
18-inch culverts on the approaches.
And then I don't know the size of the one that goes south. I guess that's a bigger one, but I don't know.
That I think is 24.
Okay. But it hit that culvert, it couldn't begin to take it. Like I said, it backed up into my yard. And I understand, we live down where there's water. But if we could get a little more help, there's some other things we can do to help ourselves, but that's one of the pieces that would sure help to take care of the situation.
Could you look at that, Penny?
I'll look at it.
If that'd be, should not be a...
And that would be before Mike's place?
Just before Mike's driveway. It comes out of the field there, right on the east side of Mike's place, so we could just get it just on the west side of that, so it would intercept a lot of that water. It would take it to the south side of the gravel road, and then it would run out to the creek, and then south. And I guess that's what we're asking, so it would help Mike a lot, because Mike's the one who really catches it when that water comes like that. He's the first place. And if we could intercept that water before it got to his place, then it would help all three of us out.
We'll take a look at that and see what we can do.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
You bet. Thanks for your time.
You bet.
Have fun, Sturgis. Heading out right now.
All right, we'll go to 15. I'll take a motion to enter into executive session.
So moved.
We got a motion on the floor, I need a second. Got a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Okay, we'll go to number 16, discussion regarding September meeting dates.
I put that on there just because the second meeting in September is the day after holidays, so, or the first meeting in September is the day after holiday, so we're gonna probably have that one on Thursday.
On the 6th, right?
Yeah, so.
And that would be the first reading of the budget, Becky?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I'm assuming we'll just keep the other one the 18th, but I just wanted to confirm.
We got conference, what?
10th and 11th.
10th and 11th.
Yeah.
10th and 11th, you said.
Yeah, the conference is the 10th and 11th.
So So the first meeting will be on the 6th.
Okay.
So we're gonna keep the second one on the 18th, right? Because I have to know for publishing the budget.
I don't know why we wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't have anything else scheduled that day, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
That's a good one to go to.
Tyler.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This morning we have a request for tax payments, from Treasurer's Trust, from Carl and Amanda Overline. This letter here.
Are they coming?
No, they're not gonna be here, they sent a letter.
And they list 3 properties, but it's really only 2.
It's 2 record numbers.
Okay.
I got those attached also with how much they owe as of August.
And they evidently feel they can handle that much money?
That's what they're saying, yes. They want to pay $200 a month for the one that they owe $1,800 on, and $250 a month on the one that's $8,773. So it's up to you guys if you want to.
Yep, I did.
Well, I don't know if they think they can handle the payments. They said they can, they know everything about it.
They called and visited, and then they called Becky and set it up and sent the letter to her, so.
Okay.
2012 on.
Okay, Becky wants us to wait a second though. She missed.
She's looking somewhere.
The payments a month, $450.
Junk.
Other liens. Yeah, there is.
So if there is, then.
There's other.
then
That's what she's
that'll
looking
go
for.
to
There's
that
other.
first.
There's,
Go in the auditor's office.
court-appointed attorney.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that'll go to that first. then.
Actually, if they pay directly to Nyla on the Treasurer's Trust, that goes to taxes, but there are other county liens out there for, in fact, they will let it off. I don't know what it is, but I know for sure there's court-appointed attorney.
That must be what she's doing.
Yeah, that's what she's doing right now.
So I thought we had before where anything that we paid in went to that first.
They have to satisfy that before they can set up a treasurer's trust is what you guys have.
Yeah.
Asked.
And, she's running the other one, there's, $413 and change on Amanda for court-appointed attorney. And that originated, one for, and then Carl has $3,106 and change in court-appointed attorney fees.
What was it, 3,000 what?
$106.92 for Carl, court-appointed attorney, and then Amanda has $413.95 for court-appointed attorney. And they originate from, we have 2 dates on Carl, 11 of 15 and July of 17, and then Amanda, we have 1 of 16 and September of 17 for the court-appointed attorney fees.
So any monies they bring in goes to that first?
Basically, I think what the last time when we had this arise where there is a lien for medicals or a lien for court-appointed attorney, your position is before the county would, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, before you would entertain a payment plan, the other sums due to the county needed to be paid off. Is that kind of what,
That's what happened.
Adam, isn't that kind of what you
I
thought,
think in the
Grandma?
past, yes.
In the past?
None of these properties up for being taken.
Right now.
Do they even, I'm sure they do know about these other costs, but are they just thinking that they can just go bye-bye or?
As the judge says, a lot of times, when you ask for a court-appointed attorney, it is not a free attorney. The county pays the money to the attorney ahead of time, and you are responsible for repaying it. But
A lot of times when they repay, they have costs, court costs and fees, and fines,
Yeah.
and the money will go towards that before it'll come to the court.
yeah, we get paid last. Restitution gets paid first. If there's restitution for any damages, that gets paid first automatically. And then the state collects its in fines and costs. And then the next one is our court-appointed attorney fees. So,
Okay, so we got 3,500 and
They're around 14,000.
$14,000 total. Due.
no, I mean, just in court.
Yeah, court appointed fees, there's $3,500.
But with the taxes due and everything else.
Apparently we
So
got,
in 7 months, if they paid $450, 7 3/4 months, they could have their court-appointed attorneys paid off.
but they would have to apply that money to the clerk of courts.
Yeah, they might have fines and stuff, we don't know.
Yeah.
The money will go to them first.
I do not know where they're at on the state side, whether it's, if the clerk of courts has been paid off on their other stuff. I have no clue. We would have to check with upstairs to find out what is owed on the state side for fines and costs, drug testing, alcohol, whatever it's for, testing costs.
but I mean, that's one thing if we start them on a payment plan, but they have to realize that they're not paying on the property.
Well, that's the problem.
And that's completely separate from us
Totally.
until we get that
I think we
satisfied.
should stick by the policy we kind of set.
Right, absolutely.
I would agree with Mr. Hope
No, absolutely.
that they would need to get the,
If you do it for one, you're gonna start down a very slippery road.
I guess that, to me, that they gotta be notified that they gotta pay this first.
can we do that now?
You can, yes. But should I go ahead and proceed with the tax deed? I mean, I've started already, I sent out the letters. Can we continue with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that what the group wants?
I
I'm
think
not in
that's-
here, but that's not my decision. I don't think that,
Can we delay paying or proceed with that to the next meeting and see if they,
we can, what I, oh, go ahead, Jimmy.
see what they wanna do, if they can pay their court-appointed attorneys and then enter into this, or?
My recommendation would be is I can provide them a letter saying that you need to pay off your liens before the county will look at doing a payment plan on your property taxes. That, Nyla can go a little slow on, or she can go through the process, but there's stuff where we can slow down a little bit. And so that will give them some time before we know if we have to continue to go further, what their steps are going to be, whether they're gonna knock this down as quickly as possible, or whether they're just not going to do anything, or whether they're gonna get this paid off. And we'll see them in 2 weeks to go on a payment plan. And then they would fall under the criteria of Walworth County is owed nothing other than property taxes. And that's kind of how we have been running as a group with regard to payment plans. Because technically we can't collect this still gets paid to the clerk of courts.
No, I think that's how it should be.
So is that what you want me to do then, is write them a letter explaining what I just said, and then Nyla and I'll continue to work on it? Is that all right with
Copy
you?
your letter?
Of course.
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you.
thank you.
And then Nyla and I'll just continue to keep you informed and work on what we're going to be doing, if that's all right.
Yep. Alrighty. Number 18, Ryan.
Everybody get a chance to look
Oh, just-
at Nyla's part quick.
Yeah.
Under Nyla.
We sent out letters today. I spoke with Becky on this already, September 1st. I spoke with Nyla already about the inmate boarding. The checks will be written out to the treasurer now, and those will go directly through upstairs here. They will no longer come to my office. If they do, they'll be brought up here. So, starting September 1, they'll be written out to Walworth County Treasurer. So, okay?
Alright. Try to make things a little easier, huh? Okay, Ryan.
Okay, everybody have a chance to look over your reports for June? Questions if you have them?
This one's good now. Yeah, that's another month or two, we'll have that knocked out.
They should have,
Standing rock is what you're talking about?
Yeah,
I cut them off today actually, so they should have, they're usually pretty quick when they do that. They should have them checked, and then they'll be caught up to their normal 60 days. They'll take care of these two. Or no, they'll take care of these two right there, and then these ones. And then this one is just, can't call it in, so it's issues with the country. We'll see, so get it checked this week, so it'll be cleared up.
okay.
It should come down to quite a bit this week, probably 50,000 or so, I bet, we'll get in.
Anything else, Ryan?
Not on the reports. Next thing will be the personnel policy manual changes. There should be a copy in front of everybody as well. Basically just the highlighted paragraph there, inserts in the language that we talked about at the last meeting, putting a cap on compensatory time of 80 hours. And then leaving open the possibility for disciplinary action if it's exceeded without prior authorization.
All department heads agree to that?
I have issues with it, but if we got a snowstorm, I gotta wait for commission meeting to get permission for guys to work.
Normally, how much comp time do they build up before weekly?
None.
So.
Right now, there's a total of 45 hours of comp time. it's all the employees now.
So you'd have 80 hours to work with,
But it says I need to get permission.
up to after 80 hours.
Your guys don't get that anyways, do they? They get admin leave.
Yeah. Well, that's true. We do get admin leave if they're called in. Not comp
So,
time.
that's
So
what I
really
said.
wouldn't- I guess it wouldn't really, never mind.
I would.
Should be fine. We get some during tax season, and sometimes, you know, we get customers in at 5 and we stay for a half hour, 15 minutes or whatever. We don't get a lot.
Make a motion to approve the change of policy manual.
Okay, got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Okay, number 20. Consider motion to allow chairperson to sign a lease with Donald H. Tisdale for Lot 1 and the south 260 feet of Lot 2, Tisdale Addition in Mobridge in the southeast quarter of Section 20, Township 124 North, Range 79 West of the 5th PM, Walworth County, South Dakota, including the 3,600 square foot green metal building with concrete loading dock.
This is what I talked to you guys about at the last meeting, about having a recycling shop in Mobridge. Have a lease here, it's for $1,000 a month, like we talked about.
For how many years?
The initial term is just through the end of this year, and it will automatically extend for another 12 months with an additional option for another 12 months after that. That's how the lease is set up. $1,000 spent. And the claim was actually already in the claims list for paying through the end of, for August through December. So just to have that paid up, not have to worry about it until the beginning of next year.
Okay, I'll need a motion for that.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion on the floor and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed.
And then I'll just catch you after the meeting, because these have to be notarized and everything, right back to you, so.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Penny?
All I have before the letting is, Swan Creek is done. We did end up the county put a fog seal on the new mat. Striping is all done. I mean, that project is completed except for paint. The community access grant, which is the one out here by the motel, they got the north radius poured yesterday. The south radius is supposed to be poured today. There is some hold up with Jensen not being able to bring the concrete when they need it, so I'm not sure. I'm hoping that gets resolved today. Otherwise, it's looking good. That's all I have. Any good letting it in?
I know it looks like some places are real thick, isn't it?
You were pouring this morning when you came in.
Yeah, I didn't go that way when I came out here.
So they need the pump truck going this morning.
Once you get the radiuses done, then the rest of it will go fairly fast.
Yeah, I've got several trucks, they're running pretty good concrete trucks.
Yeah.
How are they pouring that center? And are they doing that by hand too, or
You know, I'm not sure on
are
that.
they using a machine for that, or?
I think they're gonna use a machine, but I'm not sure. We might have, I haven't paid that much attention to the step-by-step process.
Just kind of curious.
Yeah.
Well, they need a big boulder out there.
Yeah, they were pouring more to the west this morning. Just look up the straight slab was there going out. They're using the pump truck, putting it on.
So I can drive out with it. I know they have their process and that's what they're following,
Okay, anything else, Penny?
so. No, just bid letting me.
Tammy?
I guess I can bring it up in more business too. Maybe we had time, I'm just curious, them getting a lot of calls and time frame possibly for Walt Bay Road.
Probably the first part of September.
Okay.
I can't give you an exact date. That's as far as September. See, stuff like drainage issues. It didn't rain. Really, so.
It didn't? What they dug down and it still didn't help?
Nope.
Did you guys dig it out?
Yeah, Marty and Wes were out there. Just sat there. The water's designed to go to the south, not the north. So. We're gonna go out with the measuring sticks and see if we can figure out how to get it to drain to the north. Got a pretty big ditch strip out there and it's not draining. We're gonna have to go get it. I'm not sure what's going on with it, but so it's not doing what we want it to do. Yeah, that'll be the first part of September. I got a coordinate with the team lab guy too. It comes when we put the stabilizer.
We do number 23.
Yeah. Okay, we'll jump to number 23. Consider motion to hire a part-time weed supervisor as recommended by the weed board.
We met yesterday and we recommended hire Dave Ritter at $17 an hour.
Jim, I think you took his application with you.
Is that
I think you took his application with you. I'll need to get that back.
the one I give you? Or the one you gave me?
Yeah, that was the only one.
Why would you give it to me then? Oh boy. I'm not sure.
Right where
Either in my pick or in the garbage.
It was just yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It wouldn't
If
help
anything, we
just
can
an
get
hour
a new
ago.
one from him, but
I will look.
I know, I should have got it for you before I let you out the door, but
It could be.
Yeah.
now when will he start? Is he gonna start?
I think he would probably start today or tomorrow. He's scheduled to take his drug test this morning at 9:15. And I would guess he would start right away. Penny needs a road scrape for chip sealing and,
well, the truck's broke.
yeah, he needs to order some parts from Warren Chemical for the sprayer on the pickup.
Sprayers there?
A little electric cylinder deal that raises and lower the boom. So tied up with a ratchet strap, so he'll, what are you looking at me that way for?
How long has that been, Bob?
Well, since yesterday anyway.
I figured that.
I've got no idea.
But did Jake order any parts?
Well, I don't have any idea. Would you know?
I can ask him.
Evidently it hasn't come yet or whatever.
Well,
If he would order them,
there could be parts down in the basement, in the highway, we wouldn't know. I mean, I'll have to ask him. That's about all you can do, yeah.
yeah, that would be good to know because I think Dave is gonna probably talk to them and order them and visit them about how to.
Should ask Jake first to make sure he didn't order it. That's,
Yeah.
very possible. They'll need a motion to hire Dave.
It'll be under the weed board supervision.
By law.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we follow the recommendation of the weed board. Hire Dave Reader.
All right, I got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Okay, we'll go to number 24, 4-H Achievement Day results. Brenda,
I'll leave Brenda.
Okay,
How about a 3-minute break and then we'll do bid with.
okay.
Is that gonna be
Okay, it's 10 o'clock. Wood repair bid opening. First one I got is Sharp Enterprises Incorporated out of Fort Pierce.
Scott, do you want one of these? That's
That's what I was looking for.
yeah.
Sharps Enterprises.
Thank you.
Keep the score, Jamie.
No, I'm just a observer.
This is
Both,
Hmm? I'm just looking at so much other stuff.
You should have 7 copies of the bid stuff that's on.
There's just the bid on certificate of liability.
How many copies? Okay.
And this bid is for, total bid is $228,721.
That's for what size culvert?
No, this is for the bridge repair.
Oh, bridge repair.
It's a riprap and on both bridges, out by Hiddenwood and then the one further north.
Okay.
Fort Pierce. And the next one here is from RP&H Incorporated out of Reliance, South Dakota. Okay, and this one is, total bid is for $218,262. And the next one is from Lean Transportation and Construction out of Aberdeen. Okay, and this total bid here is $284,925.83. That's it. Commissioner feel?
Why is there such a disparity between engineer's estimate and are they adding other things in here, or?
Well, looking at it, so Penny was just saying to me, up front, when we did an estimate for FEMA, I think we were at 200 and something.
Close to 250.
Yeah, 250-ish. And I had 15% contingencies in that, and I had some more work in the FEMA estimate, because kind of threw a rough estimate at it. And when I estimated this, there's only, what, 4 bid items? And we had mobilization, which is kind of a standard item, unclassified excavation, and then some drainage fabric, and then a bunch of riprap. And it's tough to say what the price of that work is going to be, particularly the excavation, getting underneath the bridge and placing riprap. I drew on some similar projects, but then inflated it a little bit. But you know, you've got 3 bids there, all pretty close to one another. You know, Lean's is a bit higher there, but probably I underestimated the amount of work involved in doing it. Like for instance, looking at Lean, now Lean was the highest of all of them, but their riprap price was $107.50. I estimated $50, which I thought was a little generous. But, you know, an average state job where they're placing riprap, probably an easier, like new construction or something like that, easier riprap placement. State bids average about $35 a ton for Class B riprap. But this is harder work, getting underneath there with probably a skid steer and placing it with an excavator, reaching underneath. And so I think that's, the riprap's probably the big disparity. I see Lean's had $30 a yard for excavation. I think I had estimated 20. So, no, not, but I don't know what the riprap source was, where these guys were getting it.
I know where you can get it from, because it's got to be, even though the FEMA declaration hasn't been done yet, we still have to go with FEMA, and the, I think his name is Lampion, up in Harriet, he is FEMA registered for riprap, and that was $35 a ton. So I'm not sure where Lean was getting there for riprap.
Well,
What are the other ones showing for the cost of riprap?
How sharp is that 80?
At what's that?
80.
And RP is at 65.
Yeah, that's a lot closer to those.
Do you want to see a copy of this quick?
Yeah.
Good.
Do you want to take a quick look at these other ones and
Go let us,
real quick and,
let us go out in the hall and we'll go through them and
take a
come
minute, come
back.
back in a little bit and give us your recommendation.
Yeah.
Not meeting.
Brenda, you're here, we just have one with you.
As you know, our achievement days for Walworth County just were, and Kevin was at our achievement days, the livestock show in Selby on August 3rd, and he asked that I give you a little report. So July 31st was the display exhibits. They were held in Mound City at the Mound City Community Center. Walworth County had approximately 175 display exhibits this year, and quite a few clover buds also entered projects as well. But as clover buds, they only received participation ribbons. We were down a little bit in numbers, I think, in exhibits, but what we were up in is that it was mostly purples and blues, a couple of reds, no whites. A lot of the judges that were there said that they saw a vast improvement of quality and excellent exhibits versus, you know, a lot of exhibits not well done. So it means that, you know, our group is learning. They're doing fewer but better. We're starting to get older kids. We have a lot more kids that have been in 5 years to 10 years than before, with a nice clover bud following here in Walworth County. There was a Sherry got a We Do Lego challenge for this year for the clover buds for both counties up there. There were 18 clover buds in all that participated. They all went, there was a first, a second, and third. And what it was is this is something that I've been helping with Sherry. She was doing with all of the clover buds in both counties, where they were assembling a robot out of Legos, and then they had to make it run using a computer. So first place was whoever got theirs done correctly and it moved. Second place was the second, and then third. And then all participants had a little gift certificate from the DQ in Mobridge. It was a really good turnout. We had a lot more people come to the talent show, fashion review, cookie auction, and cookie contest up there than in previous years. So that's kind of good. It means we're getting back out there and people are realizing we're there. August 2nd, the animals were brought into the livestock barn. The show was on August 3rd, and it was a huge success. Our numbers were up. The barn was full. For lunch, we served 175 people, so up about 50. We did sell out of just about everything, so there was a few people that might not have gotten a cookie or chips, or there was no milk, but they got a water or a soda or a bar, and so we did a really good job there. We also had cans of pop, bottles of water, cinnamon rolls, coffee, and bars for sale throughout the day, from the morning until we were done. Our judges for livestock were Ethan Johnson and Mike Hagesbrook was our poultry and rabbits. And they really did a nice job with the kids. They really took the time, didn't talk to them at their level, expected a lot more out of a junior and a senior shower versus a beginner or maybe a clover bud who was in the kiddie show. It means a lot to those kids. They walk out of there and their chests are puffed out and they're just really pleased to be there. The barbecue beef dinner was held at the Opera House. We served a total of 196 people. This was up from last year as well. 50 plus. This is kind of, the numbers are kind of a guesstimation because as you know, as it just finished, kind of not everything is tallied and totaled. The Selby Community Club helped us with a contribution towards the beef. The Mobridge ambassadors cooked and served the barbecue beef, and Wells Fargo supplied the watermelon. In Walworth County alone, we had 4 businesses step up and donate door prizes for the raffle that night. All in all, I think it was a great success. Of course, like everything, there's always a glitch or two, no matter where you are, but most people don't see that. That's kind of the behind-the-scenes thing, so that's a good thing. If you have a chance, check out our Walworth County 4-H South Dakota Facebook page. There's a lot of pictures up there already. My favorite picture in in that posting is one is they caught we had a kitty show. They got to bring in one animal, and it's a view of all the kids with maybe a grandparent, parent, sibling, auntie, somebody in there helping them. From this size to about size 7. And the look on their faces, I mean, that's what 4-H is. It's all about family. When you see the families, grandparents, the community step up and just share their passion and their love with these kids. So I think it was a huge success and growing.
That's good. Agree.
I was there, and I tell you what, just the look on these kids' faces, it made it worthwhile just to see the kids' faces and stuff. And they all had a great time. It was more of a fair type deal where they're running around and all puffed out, and the parents and grandparents, like Brenda said, is just unbelievable amount. They was helping them wash down all the animals and groom them, and I was very impressed. There was not a stall left in the barn, I don't think.
No, we could have squeezed a few more in there. If push came to shove, we could have moved all of those fitting stations outside and they'd have fit outside versus next to their animals. But it was full. And what was nice to see is we have a lot more older kids now that are actually, mom and dad don't have to help them as much. They're doing the fitting. I mean, you could tell there was a lot more pride and ownership in their exhibit after they've been doing this for a few years. So it means that they're learning and they're enjoying it, and it's a good time.
And the cost of these animals is not getting cheap. I talked to a few of them, and what they spend on some of these animals.
But you know, you don't have to spend that kind of money.
You don't have to, but that's the pride that they take is.
Because a lot of times
they're trying to get better, and they're trying to improve everything. And I thought it was a tremendous show, and I just wanted to let everybody know I appreciate the work that you do and what Sherry's doing, and it does show just in the faces of these kids. I just want to tell you thank you for a good job.
All right, well, thank you. Any questions, get a hold of us.
Thanks, Brenda. Thank
you. You bet.
Out there.
Okay, our recommendation is to go with RPH of Reliance.
Okay, I'll need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to accept our P&H.
Okay, got a motion on the floor and a second. Any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed.
I'll need all that stuff to consent.
Copy of the loan there. Actually, yeah, I should, of the loan in particular, I should get a copy of all that stuff.
Okay.
There's no one for these.
But for RPMH, all of the good ones and stuff, I should have
Yeah.
copies of it.
Yeah.
If I could, I would add a little bit to explain some of the prices they think is too high. a lot of times, like on the DOT stuff, they'll have separate items for traffic control, seeding, and then dewatering. And then how to handle that depth of that creek on both sides so it don't wash out, you know.
Yeah.
And easements and stockpile places and stuff, where a lot of times the DOT will have this stuff separate. So that's why some of these prices look big, more than they should be, you know.
You're right, there's, some of that is absorbed into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just, so that, because I know that when they first seen them numbers, they go, you know, and which you normally would if you didn't.
Yeah, and
do that, so.
it's not easy work either as far as placing riprap goes.
Under those bridges and with you still don't know what you're gonna find on those footings on those bends.
Yeah, yeah.
When you get down there, so.
But then, some of that riprap, I mean, why is the riprap price so high compared to,
I think,
I mean, are they,
part of it is, I think it calls for a DOT spec, and that has to be fractured. You can't just put in regular rock. Just go out and get field rock. You have to hammer it and fracture it. I think is why that, you know, and then getting it up in there is gonna be, when you put that rock on the fabric, to get that clear up in under that bridge is not an easy task. And you gotta be able to, we're probably gonna have to dump in the ditches as we go and then carry it down and around, and then have a smaller excavator pushing it up with a combination of a bigger excavator, smaller excavators, you know, is, it's kind of, you know, is why that price comes up as much as it does.
alrighty, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then our big letting for the concrete culvert will be next meeting, I mean. And I'll need those two copies tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're probably Greg, Gary. Oh, I never met you before. Nope, I don't think so.
Good morning.
I guess I was the one that put this on there. I talked to Josh and Justin earlier last week. We went over there and we had a meeting and kind of noticed a few things, and the reason that I went over there initially was to discuss the possibility of possibly contracting out with different people of bringing in somebody else to do the food. They're having problems with making the food, substituting food items, and there was just a lot of issues that I think need to get addressed over there. I'm still in the works of trying to come up with, I just got another name last night of a different company that will possibly come over and have a dietitian come over, set the menu, and they will actually deliver the food to to do it, but I haven't got a cost on it, or I haven't even really talked to them yet about it. But in my opinion, I think something needs to get done over there, because what's going on, we're setting ourselves up for more issues. There currently really isn't any inventory other, I did get one sheet. When I got it, they said it was probably 2 weeks old. Did you get a hold of the dietitian that signed off on the menu that was approved?
Not yet. I guess for the questions you had for substituting some of that stuff, no, not yet.
Okay.
I can. I will. I'll get those answers for you. I pulled that sheet too.
Can you email him those answers?
Yeah.
I got the answers, I called her.
Okay.
I talked to her. And what you're substituting shouldn't be substituted. So, then she said, well, what's going on? I kind of had a talk with her. She would be willing to come back up again also. Because we're not basically following what that menu is. There is nothing about pizzas or donuts or that on that menu. The numbers that we got, I gave you guys a copy of it. You figure out where those numbers.
Yeah, I pulled the handwritten sheet. If you want to stop down after the meeting, I can show it to you. I pulled the handwritten one out of the kitchen every day, wrote down, and
How close are we then?
2214.
Okay, so we're still 400 off.
Handwritten each time.
We're still 400 numbers off.
And I can't change what's in black and white. It's handwritten after each meal served.
If you look.
How'd your other one turn out?
Which one?
One is 413 extra meals.
No, I know. You looked at.
Yeah, I'm talking about the handwritten one. This 2214 is a total.
Right, but you came, what was the other one that you looked at? Was that for July?
Yeah, July, I guess I don't remember.
There was that 140? You said it came in close.
It was way, yeah, it was
It
different
wasn't
than
the
June.
400, but.
No.
I mean, when I look at it, we're 400 meals extra. I just don't understand. I guess I don't understand how we can be 400 meals extra.
Yeah, I pulled the handwritten sheets in the kitchen after they serve each meal.
So then are our inmate numbers wrong?
Not that I'm aware of. I would get a phone call from the counties if it was.
Well, not if we're getting them for free, for housing them for nothing.
No, because they're gonna call me off their bills. They keep track of who's here and how long they're here. And I've gotten no phone calls saying any bills have been wrong.
I guess I just can't fathom being 400 meals off.
Like I said, you can stop down. I pulled the sheet that's in the kitchen with the handwrite each service down. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Because if you add these numbers up, it comes to 610 days served times 3 is 1,830. We got 2,243 meals.
Nice. You can come look at the one handwritten in the kitchen. I can't
Well, that's why I'm saying,
explain it any different than that. It's handwritten each time they serve a meal.
that's why I'm saying I think something needs to get done.
And I'm sure if the counties disagreed with the bill I sent them, they would be letting me know. That's the only checks and balances I would have. Because no one's complaining, they pay their time, and if they do have discrepancy, they call right away. Because some do the day of, and some do the day out, as far as what they count for a day.
Well, I guess I'm not quite understanding, why would you be serving them Long Johns and
She has that on her itinerary for her.
Once a week.
Yeah. And then if it's busy and they get swamped with people coming in, they'll substitute something easy like that instead of making it something harder. But if she's not willing to have that done, then I'll get a hold of her and we'll figure out a different solution.
I mean, I looked at that inventory,
Yeah.
and I guess I'm not quite understanding why would chicken fried steak, why would you have inventory of chicken fried steak?
It's another quick meal if they need to serve it, if they get swamped or don't have time to get supper done, and there's 2 people in there. If they don't have time, it's something they can throw in the oven and not worry about till it's ready to serve.
I know she said that the pudding cups and ice cream cups do not count as dairy,
No, she said pudding cups don't count as dairy.
and neither do the ice cream cups.
Not for I remember, so I will talk to her again. Then if it doesn't, then we'll substitute something else.
So we're not giving them.
You know, other than milk, and there isn't much dairy, I mean, cheese I can do for cheap.
I don't know what your guys' opinion, do we need to take a more look at this other company that will come in, and you want me to get with them more and see, or?
I guess what kind of company you're talking about, I mean, where are they from, or are they something local, or?
The one rep that I got a phone call or a number from, she's from either McIntosh or Blossom, and they do schools and jails. I got the number from Ashley Gosh. I checked with Ashley about possibly having Good Sam prepare meals and have her take a look at the deal, but she said that their administration at this time does not want to get involved. So I mean, I guess my feeling is it wouldn't hurt to see what the costs of what they would provide us. Your cost for $1.07 a meal is not anywhere close either. Because in June you spent $2,747 in groceries, divided by 1,830 meals, should be $1.50 a meal, not $1.07.
What's the total you got, I guess?
So that's what I'm saying. None of the numbers are adding up, so
I don't see how trying to get an estimate on something is gonna hurt anything, no matter what it is.
I can check into it further if you guys want, but I just think something needs to get done. Even if you got handwritten deals at say 2,214 meals, it's still 400 meals off.
And that's the meals that they handwrite them down. That count, it's the ones counted for transports. You know, the sack lunches are all counted when they go out. There's people getting moved around, every meal is accounted for. Handwrite them down. And I'll hold that sheet and we'll go through it when we brought it up last week.
But you wouldn't have more than 3 meals per day.
No.
They serve.
3 meals a day.
So I mean, no matter what, I don't know where are the other meals going to? I mean, if you only have 610 days served, there's a maximum meals served of 1,830 meals. So where are these other meals going to?
That's what I'm saying. You can come down and look at the handwritten sheet yourself, make sure I'm having it. I double checked it myself. Because they handwrite down each time they serve a meal to however many are in there at that specific meal time. Whether it be 30 or 28 or 16, whatever it is.
I guess I don't have an answer to it, but in my mind, it ain't gonna hurt to take a look at this other one, just, because we're not serving them what we should be serving them anyway.
And I'll talk to her and that's easily adjustable.
Send her what you currently have, along with those instructions that you have. Tell her to send new recommendations.
I will do that.
Yeah, double check the numbers every day on what they're writing down. It should match who we have in custody.
Yeah, it should match.
It should be relatively close. I mean, it's like I explained to Kevin, and he realized that, but you know, we have ones that are in there for an hour, it still gets counted as a day for a head count. They may not eat the 3 meals. We've got some that get out and eat 1 meal, not the other 2. Some don't have any, they're not in long enough.
But then our meal count should be way less, not way more.
Right, because they should be going by.
Right. If anything, our meal count should be way less than the 610 times 3, not 400 meals more.
Right. I'm not saying there isn't an issue there, but we need to find out where that is and try and fix it. I don't know if it's a paperwork snafu or what it is, if they're not doing the head count correctly over there. I'm assuming they are because
it's all on trays. They count 30 trays.
They count the trays, it goes by cell block, so it's part of their meal prep when they're doing it. They write down, they go do a head count and how many trays need to go to each cell block. So, I mean,
I think what I'm getting out of it, from what Kevin's saying, I mean, these numbers need to be closer to either days served or off, or the meal count. Some places are getting recorded wrong someplace because we got too big of a discrepancy. If based on the number of meals served,
which you guys will get in the report, that's way closer. I don't know what the discrepancy is. We haven't been able to find it yet, so I can't explain that. I don't know.
And like I said, day served, they'd be all up in my rear to get that straightened out if it was sent out wrong. Because them guys keep track of who's in here, how long they're here, what their bill should be every time.
well, based on the meal count though, days served would be quite a few less than what should be. So why would they be upset about that?
Well, they wouldn't be, but
that's probably why you're not getting a phone call.
Well,
if you were charging them more, they'd be giving you a phone call.
Yeah.
Well, there's no question, something's gotta get figured out there. I guess we just have to look in and see if we can figure it out.
yeah, I'll keep looking into it. If I gotta pull paperwork and have them write down each individual person, we'll do that too. I'll get it figured out one way or the other.
Alrighty. Anything else with the jail? Alrighty, thank you. Right, then we'll move to number 25. It's budget discussion. So we're gonna do this, go down the line?
Well, I don't know if you need to go down the line again, but I did that once.
Oh, we did it once.
You need to make decisions on if it's gonna be 3%.
I got a question on the revenue. When you show in the cash applied for like 15, 16, 17, what is the cash applied? What's that?
That's the amount of money used to offset the expenses.
Okay,
There's the revenue.
so that's just a budget shortfall.
I guess to me one of the first things we need to discuss is salary. I think that's the biggest part of what we need to get going right away. What's the rest of the commission feel we need to do about the salary?
Do we know what the medical is actually doing? Have we heard numbers?
Between 15 and 25%. It's the only numbers we've received.
When would he have a more close number?
Renewals in September.
It's in September?
Yeah, that's when we'll get our renewal paperwork.
Oh, okay.
Paperwork.
But he should have the number.
I just talked to him yesterday, I still don't have anything.
We have it by our next meeting.
I can keep on them, but,
If we're renewing in September,
well, we
No.
renew in
November.
December, actually,
December.
yeah. But we'll have the renewal paperwork in September.
we should have that price on there.
Yeah, we'll have all the rates, the new rates on
But not in time.
there. Not for the budget. I mean, we could always go back and amend the budget. Once we find some numbers.
I've been looking this over, trying to rack my brain. I know that insurance is going up so much. I guess I'll be very honest, I'll come right out and say it, is it really even possible to give even a 1.5% raise where health insurance is going? Nobody likes to hear stuff like that, but what's the rest of the commission feeling about this?
What is that? Health insurance in numbers.
Total cost to the
Yeah.
county, you mean?
Yeah.
I believe it's over $500,000.
A couple of years ago, it went up 900,000, or, I don't remember just what it was.
We were over 18, almost 19% last year, I think,
Mhm.
that we went up. The year before that, our rate actually stayed pretty much the same because we switched plans to an ACA plan. So if we're looking at 19 last year, say 20 this year, I mean, that's pretty significant cost increase for us to absorb. I'll tell you the same thing I told you guys last year. I think you should grandfather in people that have the family plan and self-enrollment.
Yes,
That's in the counties.
I'm gonna say this again, I've said it before, not very many people agree with me, but I would rather have no raise and have the county continue to pay my full insurance single premium than to have than to get a raise and then have to pick up part of my own premium. I would rather have no raise and have the county pay that premium than have a raise and have to pay part of it myself.
If you're looking at the cost to the county for health insurance, with a 20% rate increase, the single is gonna run around a little over $12,000 a year. So a person with a family plan is costing the county over $19,000 a year.
What was it this year, Ryan?
Right around 10.5, I think, so, for a single.
So if it goes up, say 20%, that's
Well,
gonna be a
good.
$2,000 benefit to the,
To the single, yeah, to a single person.
I agree with Deb. I would rather have my insurance benefits than a raise. I don't know what the rest of the department heads say. But
I'm sure my employees.
I think my employees are the same way.
I've said that.
We'd rather have coverage than raises, but I don't know what the rest of the departments are like. I mean, a $2,000 raise and keep everything the same, because we're getting that on the
It's your
insurance.
opinion, Josh.
Well, without talking with the employees, I would think that they would rather keep the insurance because it's a huge benefit.
What do you think your department would say, Penny?
Probably the same thing. I haven't broached on that at all, so I don't like speaking for
Sure.
anyone, but I would assume you would rather keep the insurance than have to start paying for their insurance.
If insurance goes up 15%, don't you have to look at that as part of, as a raise? Because it's
Should.
your benefit.
It should be a huge, it's a huge raise, really. I mean, it's a cost of the county.
I think employees forget that insurance or retirement, all that, that's part of your compensation, and when that goes up 15%, you in effect got a raise.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you don't see it in your paycheck, but it's a cost of business that the county's absorbing.
You see it when you don't have to pay the big bill.
Yeah. I mean, the way to really recognize that is to give them the check and then have them pay the premium. Then they'd realize what that cost is. And because that's when you start writing a check for your own health insurance, then you realize what this nonsense costs.
What do you think about your office, Becky? And I know no one's talked, but kind of just to kind of get a heads up what people think, or Nyla, or
My office
Casey.
wants the insurance. I agree with Deb.
I mean, I know it's not something we're gonna talk about, but it's there.
I just can't believe the cost of insurance. It is.
Well, it's just,
Even the $1,000 a year that we're giving everybody for their HSA is a huge.
That's another huge benefit. So,
Insurance companies are using uncertainty as justification to line their pockets to hedge against future possible injury to them, so.
My recommendation is no individual raise, but pay for the raise in healthcare and to grandfather the family, ones that are on family plans right now, grandfather them and stop any future ones.
That would have to change in the policy manual then, right, Ryan?
Yeah,
And that would have to be an agenda item to vote on, a separate issue.
Yeah, you probably have to make some adjustments in there.
Just for the grandfather.
Yeah, you would have to vote on that and put it on the agenda to stop that.
But I mean, we can.
Put that on the next agenda, yeah.
We could make plans on it to try to
Correct.
get the budget.
Well, budget's based on pretty much current employees in there.
Right.
You made it into a motion, Kevin?
Well, I can't because.
I don't think,
No.
yeah.
Budget.
Why can't we talk to our insurance agent, because our budget is always at the same time. Why can't we say, if you want our business, you've got to give us that figures before our budget?
We don't have them.
It comes from Walmart, yeah, it comes all the way from the top. So with the way our fiscal year runs, it doesn't jive too well with the way they do business, I guess. I don't know if it's something where we could change our renewal date to September so that we have information in June, you know, if that's something we can do.
To me, it's
Do you
just,
guys want to go through the competition again and make them all come in here and do a spiel? I mean, it sounds like a nightmare, but I know Penny. but
We'll have
it's-
to keep the HSA though then, right now, since we're in a HSA.
Well, we have, I mean, our options are unlimited, but I know people don't want to change their health insurance.
but I'm just looking at, we go through this every year because you guys are guessing on your budget and everything. Well, what's it gonna, we got 20% added in, well, it's just a guessing game.
Yeah, we never know what to put in there, Becky.
I just think that,
Yeah.
that they should just, I know Wellmark's big, but has anybody ever said, Jesse, Tell them you want them figures before then.
I talked to, I didn't talk to Jesse, I talked to Josh at Fisher Rounds, and he can't get it beforehand.
I've been on them since May.
Really?
They actually stopped in here one day to see how things were going.
Do they run on a fiscal year? And we run
I think
on-
it's all based on renewal date, but they'll only get you your numbers like a couple months before your renewal date or whatever that is.
Because if they want it, because they go off of what your claims are.
Right. I mean, once I get the numbers in, I'm definitely gonna do some shopping around, but I gotta know, you know, what to compare it to. So, I mean, there's still a possibility that we might do something different, and then we just have to weigh is the cost of sticking with the current plan for the satisfaction of the employee, is it worth it against, you know, what other plans might, the cost of other plans might be, so.
Are you super limited as far as companies yet?
Walmart's the big player around here, and then Dakota Care and Sanford offering their own private insurance, are kind of other big players. So.
But there's only a certain amount of companies in the state of South Dakota that are offering coverage.
Authorized to do business, yeah. So. And I know last time we had people come in here, we got quotes for Dakota Care and Sanford, and then we had different agents coming in and quoting us the same Walmart insurance, basically, which you don't really get very far ahead that way. Then you're just picking your agent, more or less. So, I mean, I'm more interested in insurance coverages and choosing between different insurance agents offering the same coverage. So.
But the issue is though that we want to be able to use it everywhere, because
right.
There are some that have to go to
And that's
Rochester.
where Walmart's nice. You know. If you're on Avera or Dakota Care or Sanford or something, you have to go through that. Okay, we can't provide these services in state, so then we'll authorize you to go outside the state to get these services. So it's just that extra step in there.
And that's not guaranteed that they'll approve it.
Right.
Jenny?
Can we just plan that cost is gonna go up 25%, we don't give any raises, and if we get a great deal, you guys can always go back and look at giving raises, but right now, I think everybody's consensus is we wanna keep the same insurance, we don't wanna switch, we're happy with what we have, and we will take the insurance benefit over a raise, and if we get a great deal and he comes in and says, guess what, 0%, then you guys can always go back and look at things, but I think everybody's.
Then next year we can get a bigger raise.
Or you can just give a raise in it otherwise, but because we've already factored in 25% increase, so use that as kind of.
That is a bonus.
And yeah, and we're looking at, I mean, that way we're looking at the worst case scenario, 25% increase and no raise, and I think everybody, at least my staff, I think would want that. And that medical benefit's very important to the employees. And the stability of that
Yeah,
insurance.
instead of flip-flopping.
And then you're like, well, which card do I have? I mean, I have like 3 cards in my pocket from the last 3 years
Yeah.
or whatever. But that's again, just me in my office, but I think from hearing everyone else's is that maybe plan on the worst 25%, no raises, and if we get a great deal, then you can always reevaluate a raise, but right now, that would, as an employee, that would be my recommendation. Anybody else?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I don't want to be the one taking over the show here, but
No,
I want to keep my insurance and half of my
Yeah.
wife's paid.
Yeah,
That's just me being greedy,
I
but
agree.
over a raise.
and I don't want to change insurance companies again, no.
Okay, so why don't we go through this and just figure out the same budget for salaries as last year.
Well, it's listed right there, budget for current year.
Right. So we just put 52,000 in there.
Oh, I can change all that. We don't need to do that through this meeting.
Okay.
Okay, there's a few things that we're talking salaries, I think we just will bring it up right now. I've been talking to a few people, and I think right now would be the time to be trying to do something in the assessor's office and the registered deeds, and I was looking at, why don't we, instead of hiring a full-time person there, why don't we just have like a part-time person, floater, instead of, you know, just do something like that, instead of having a full-time person and then 2 officers.
A floater, Scott, between the two.
Right. And Nyla and I have talked about her office too, and but right now I was looking at, well, maybe do something in them 2 offices right now to.
I'm not opposed to that.
What's the rest of the feeling of the commission?
Are you thinking another half-time, you're gonna put a half-time person in Deb's office
Yes.
and half-time in the register deed?
Well, I don't think
Half.
are you thinking
No.
of putting another
Not
half-time
another.
person?
No, no.
Thinking about making one person in my office half-time or whatever.
Right, half there, half there.
Part-time.
Part-time.
So 520
520.
hours there, 520 hours there.
Yes.
Oh, not full-time. Not full-time at all.
It would be a part-time employee.
Right.
25% of a full person in each office.
And them 2.
Right.
With 1,040 hours split.
I wouldn't be opposed to trying it. The problem with that is getting somebody to apply for a part-time job.
Well, there's always, you know, you ain't gonna know until you try something.
Has to be somebody that wants part-time hours and no benefits. That's the problem.
Nyla knows what I talked to her about. I'll just come right out and say initially what I had in my brain is I was looking at all 3 offices and having a full-time person, full benefits, and going quarter, half.
Now you're talking adding the part-time person.
No, I said I was talking, this is 2 different ways I was looking at it.
One would be.
One would be a
possibilities of
One would be
between
full-time,
three
But you'll
other
still
one-
be adding a person to, so
I
you're
think-
talking
I
using.
think What he's saying.
Cutting 2 slots,
Cutting.
cutting this office and that
Okay.
office.
Yeah.
Correct.
Maximum,
I think it'd be easier to retain somebody to have a full, I think it'd be easier to retain somebody to have a full-time and go quarter 50 to have a full-time with benefits than to try to hire a part-time.
Could be. But like I said, we don't know. We're here, input.
I don't want to lose my part-time worker. She's very good. I have requested 300 hours more from her and took it out of the health insurance part, so actually it was kind of wiping out one increase to one decrease in my budget. I did talk to her about maybe being a floater, and at first she said she wasn't interested, and then I visited again with her and she said she would, but she would need 6 weeks off, of course, 4 weeks unpaid.
Every year.
But every year. She doesn't want to work all the time.
Does she need 6 weeks in a row? Does she need 6 weeks
Probably not.
altogether?
Probably altogether. She's really easy to work with. She's excellent worker. I don't think it would be the easiest thing with the communications in the offices to share a part-time worker. And I think it would cost my office more because I would end up paying benefits than if I just got 300 additional hours. So when you're looking at just my office, it's better to keep my part-time worker. in my office.
Well, if it's split half, a fourth and a fourth.
But right now, I'm not paying any benefits for part-time.
Yeah.
And your employees already have time, right? Basically, Nyla?
She's a little,
Yeah.
Well, 2 part-time employees, of course, is gonna save the county benefits for all around. It's just the issue of finding people. How many did you have apply when you hired?
I had several, but they were going to leave as soon as they found a full-time job. Most of them.
That's why initially, that's why I thought that it would be a full-time position. I think it would be a better deal, but.
Well, for my office, I mean, there was many years when I did it by myself. It's hard to cut a position in any office. My biggest thing would be like somebody to answer my phone if Greg and I are gone. That's, you know, because it's not a short learning curve. I don't think in any of these offices, but if you have someone there to at least answer the phone while you're gone, and if you're there, you know, part of every other day, that I'm willing, I don't know, yeah.
Any help is better than no help.
Exactly.
But you know, I just want to say this while we keep talking. I mean, if you think that I'm trying to do something to your offices, I'm looking at it as a taxpayer too, and as a commissioner. If you think this is a very easy thing that I'm proposing here, it's not. I'm not trying to hurt any office. I'm just looking at it for the county. To me, there's no doubt. I think each and every one of you people know that. Do you need a full-time person all the time? Probably not. Am I correct? I mean, you can.
You're correct.
Anybody can voice their opinion at any time. So that's what I'm saying is that I think we got to look at that. What's going to be best for the county? I mean, and I know, just like Deb said, you know, to answer the phone, but do we really want to spend taxpayers' money just for that? That's why I said we really need to think long and hard about this.
Which is what a floater could do. I mean, it's
Right.
not, you know, I can take the phone to any office in this courthouse, you know.
I would just as soon we not be having this discussion, but in all reality, I think we all know that we need to have this discussion.
Doesn't it kind of follow the discussion that we just had about raises and the cost of insurance
Yes,
going
it
up?
does.
So, I mean, it's not like a completely
You know,
separate discussion. I'm gonna have to bite a huge bullet, but
you know, I'm just looking at
I'm
the worst.
not saying I'm against it. I'm not probably hooray for it, but I'm not against it.
All of a sudden, let's just say the worst case scenario also, what if you guys say, we look at next year and all of a sudden we say, uh-oh, we are really in trouble here. Now we gotta do something. I mean, look at the numbers, I mean,
if you just look at the cash applied numbers from 2015 to the current year, 3 years, it's gone up over 5 times. Went from 528,000 to 2,863,000. So I think we need to make cuts somewhere.
so now I'll ask again now, what are you guys really thinking here now? Now that this is out in the open?
Oh, yeah.
best for my office to keep it with my part-time worker because of the benefits package, as long as she's willing to work part-time.
Yes, Jim?
Just kind of a side question, what are our loaded costs for like an average employee? Because when did we start most of our employees at? 15,
15, 19, I started.
15, 19, and then our loaded costs go in, so what does that come out to, about $55,000?
Yeah, depending
Somewhere in
on
that
the wage.
ballpark, and the employee is $55,000 to, if they're a full-time employee. And I think kind of what you were thinking is take 2 employees and eliminate 1. Is that kind of?
Eliminate 2,
Yeah,
because you would
2.5.
eliminate 1 in my office, 1 in.
Because Nyla's only
Casey's
asking for
office.
300 hours, right, Nyla? So that's about what, $4,500, $5,000 in
Right.
total cost, because your employee is not full-time.
It would be eliminating 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5.
1.5.
Oh, and then you're going to 25 and 20, okay, I'm looking at it
Yeah.
wrong.
25, 25, 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you, yeah, it'd be 1.5 people at ED.
Well, to throw in another monkey wrench,
Okay.
Brenda cannot keep doing the maintaining and monitoring of all of the medicals coming across from the sheriff's office and the jail side. She's getting way behind. And that's something else you're gonna have to figure out what you wanna do. I mentioned that a couple months ago. Mentioned it to Kevin again. How do you wanna deal with that?
I think you should put her full-time on that and collections.
Well, then I would need another employee, but what I'm saying is,
Justin learn how to do that? Justin learn how to do that?
somebody's got, if she's not gonna do it, somebody's gonna have to learn how to do it. Because technically, it's not our responsibility. It's just that she's been doing it to make sure we're
This is very good.
paying our fair amount. I mean, on some of it she does, but very little on the, I mean, on the poor relief, we're already slotted on that. She gets every medical cost that comes in, not just poor relief, and that takes up a lot of her time, and especially right now, she's got 4-H and my jobs, and she's been doing that for out of her other times, and it's just not working anymore. So that's something else that we're going to have to address. Is it going to go back to the sheriff's office and they run with those numbers and they're going to have to get trained, or what do you? Because I need an answer on that, because she is just getting overwhelmed. Taking care of that.
My opinion, I wouldn't want to see it go back to the sheriff's office, because at least this way where we got it now, you got 2 separate entities doing checks and balances on each other. Or if it goes back to the sheriff's office, you have nobody checking or balance between the offices. I wouldn't want to see it go back to the sheriff's office to rely on nobody having checks and balances on it. Because we're dealing with a lot of money on medical.
And the problem is we're getting to a breaking point now, especially, I mean, we're eliminating comp time, and I try to keep her, I mean, she's been trying to keep her comp hours down, but abuse and neglects are extremely, I mean, she does right now 16 hours 4-H, and then 16 hours abuse and neglect, and then 8 hours poor relief. And so 24 out of her 40 hours is under the state's attorney's office, the other 16 is under the 4-H person. The only other thing you could do is pull her out of 8 hours of 4-H and put her the other 8 hours under either the jail or me to keep doing the medical. I mean, she said about 8 hours a week is max, but still ebbs and flows. All of a sudden we've got a bill that we have to fight that she spends 4 hours just for one day on one bill arguing with them because they don't understand how the billing process
Well, we
works.
got Sherry is supposed to be full-time between the 2 counties.
That, I'm just offering that as a possibility. I don't want to cut anyone else's hours, but I'm just saying is that we're getting to a breaking point on Brenda with regard to keeping up on her state's attorney's job, her 4-H job, and doing the medical stuff.
Well, if we're gonna need an additional person to do just the medical stuff, if we go to a 70 bed, then we're really gonna need a full-time person to do it practically if the jail can't do it.
Well, that's the whole thing is I don't want we're talking about people, and that's what I'm throwing on, because I don't want to stretch Brenda. She does a great job for me. I don't want to lose any hours that she does for me. That's basically 24 hours a week. And she utilizes all that time for her jobs that she does with me, abuse and neglects, and poor relief. And again, on poor relief, she saved us a ton of money also. So I don't want to give up any time on that. And realistically, she can't give up any time. She's pushing the envelope on those two. It's just that she has taken on.
My suggestion is, we got Sherry is full-time between Campbell and Walworth. Have Sherry take over those 8 hours.
But she's full-time right now, so all we would do is, I'm
Right.
kind of cutting the 4-H's throat, but we would make Brenda 8 hours. She'd work 8 hours a week on
bills for the
on
jail.
4-H and 8 hours on our medical billing. But then, whose budget does that come out of?
Yeah.
Because technically, that's not one of my responsibilities. It's just that we've absorbed that because Brenda's so good at it.
This is more work up here, isn't it?
No, why can't they, she train somebody to do it?
Which office?
Justin?
That's what Kevin talked about, was the checks and balances.
The checks and balances. I wouldn't want to see it happen.
Sorry to throw that out there, but it's gotta, she cannot keep functioning the way she is. She's
My
getting
opinion
overwhelmed.
is give the 8 hours back to Sherry for 4-H. And just let Sherry run with the 4-H. I hate to see Brenda does a great job with 4-H, but that's what we hired Sherry for, is full-time.
So Brenda do 4-H for 8 hours rather than 16, and then 8 hours on the medical, and then whose budget is the medical coming out of? We allocate, and who's she under for those 8 hours?
I'd say we're coming out of the jail.
Out of your office, so it'd be checks and balances.
Supervised by my office, but
Supervised by your office. Probably come out poorly.
that's not
No.
really a poor issue, it'd be a jail
It
issue.
should be jail.
Come out of the jail budget.
I would say that would be the proper way to do it.
If we're in agreement, I just wanted to get that out there because Brenda is getting overwhelmed, and she does a great job, and I want to keep her doing a great job.
I mean, those hours we could probably take out of.
Pardon, Josh?
She does do a good job at it.
And that's
we could
why.
take it out of the jail budget, but I would rather see somebody other than your office doing the checks and balances.
Yeah, I guess that's fine. I mean, I full conversations with her daily on medical stuff, so.
Kevin, the only thing that we're wondering is what budget to take it out of, so that her wage is gonna come out of the jail salary now, and for that 8 hours. It doesn't have anything to do with changing the way she's doing it.
Okay. Just pull the 8 hours off of the jail.
Off jail budget, everything.
know
I
if
don't
you
have a
need
problem.
line item.
What is the rest of the group position? I'm just throwing that out there, I mean, because I need to get a solution.
To me, I think that'll work.
Marion?
Well, she's currently doing it. And she's good at it. I agree, though, I mean, it needs to come out of the right budget. And if that works, I don't know how that's gonna work on.
It's fine.
If we do
It doesn't matter with us.
If we do it that way, I would say just put it out of the jail budget.
Because she's already split out.
Yeah, she splits the way it is, so
With
it's not gonna, that
State's
doesn't
attorney,
mean.
Port
we
Relief,
just-
State's attorney, A&N,
And then what
4-H.
wage will that be? Because she gets 2 different wages for different jobs.
Yeah, under the state's attorney, she gets paid more. So that's another issue you gotta think about. Food for thought.
She's still under your oversight even on jail, then, that's what they're asking, for the checks and balances, so she would still fall under you.
That's the decision you guys gotta make. What you gonna do? I hate to be the one that throws all these monkey wrenches in, but it's something we gotta get decided.
What's
before
the-
budget's-
What's the 2 rates that she's getting now?
What'd she get? 17,
Eva?
15, 50 on,
Can you look up?
I think it's like 17, 10, and 15.
1542 is one of them.
And then in the
the other
state's attorney.
17.
What would that be for 4-H or for the 15?
1542 was 4-H.
State's attorney. So that would get cut by 8 hours. It's just that do we pay her 1542 for the stuff, or do we pay her what she's getting paid for state's attorney stuff? For the ANNs and the, so she gets paid the same as Kathy, that's why we pay her the same on the state's attorney stuff.
So to make sure it's getting done right, we're gonna pay an additional.
Poor relief and abuse and
something that
neglect.
should be done in the jail cell.
Basically, my state's attorney staff gets paid the same.
Yeah,
And
that
that's why
doesn't
when
seem
Brenda came in,
something that should be-
because when I first started, abuse and neglect's always under the state's attorney, but poor relief was not. Poor relief was in the equalization office.
It's the only way it's gonna get done.
And then they pulled
But
poor
you
relief
understand what
into
I'm
my
saying?
office when Roger retired. So
No, I understand.
It's
that.
1718.
So yeah. So you pay her 1542 or 1718 on 8 hours that she's gonna work for the jail, but under the supervision of the state's attorney.
1718 be my, she's saving us a hell of a lot more money than that.
We just need to have it figured out.
There's 1718 for the.
I would say that's fine, but
For the 8 hours that comes out of Josh's.
I would say that's fine, but we want to get all that sorted out so we don't have.
My recommendation.
How is that going to balance out? I mean, we're adding an expense there. That should be really already being done out of the jail budget. One of those guys willing to give up some of their salary?
I know where we can get it. Which, when we get to that department, we can get it. Because there's another cut that's coming up.
So food for thought. If that's tentatively what it is, I'll let Brenda know. Have to let 4-H know. And basically Campbell County does 8 hours.
Just tell them we're taking a look at it right now.
Yeah,
Nothing's-
But I wanted to get that out before we get to the first reading, and then we have all these issues. Like now's kind of the time to bring all that stuff up. Because I do think it's important that she continues to do, she saves us a lot of money on the
She
medical
saves us
bills.
a lot of money.
Okay, then we'll get back to the other one since you rudely interrupted.
I am sorry.
I was about to go back there.
I am sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm kidding.
Now I'm all red.
Look over there.
I'm all red. I gotta get some coffee.
I need water.
So let's get back to our little dilemma.
Yeah, because my question is, we're talking about next year's budget. So we have 2 people involved, one in my office and one in Nyla's office. But we're also at the same time then asking Casey to go from now till the 1st of January without any help. You know what I'm saying? So,
But I mean, it would be kind of foolish to hire somebody right now when we, you know.
I don't know why you couldn't start the process for hiring that part-time person immediately if that's what you decide to do.
And there's money already in the budget already for
they would,
a person.
so we would have,
It is not saying nothing can't be done.
so the first thing that has to happen then is Nyla has to find out if her person is interested in full-time work.
She is, but she wants that time off. And I want to keep her because she's trained in my office and very good in there.
But, you know, we can't hire somebody full-time and give them
Pardon?
6 weeks
Yeah.
of vacation.
If you do that, then everybody's gonna want that.
Right. So, I mean,
Even
it
if
has
it
to
is
be a
unpaid.
decision to make full-time or not.
Right. Not,
I did bring
I'll
that
take
up to
full-time with benefits,
I didn't bring
but
that up to you.
No, I know you did.
So I guess if it comes down to that, and my preference would be just to keep her in my office and they share one in their offices. Because she's already trained in my office.
But so is the one in my office, trained in your office. Both of them in my office are trained in the treasurer's office.
2 part-timers is definitely gonna be a lot cheaper than 1 full-time.
And it might be a lot better for scheduling conflicts too.
Especially if Nyla doesn't want, if Nyla needs, if her employee wants to stay part-time.
How about, if we cut it,
Because basically Nyla's asking for a
If-
$5,000 increase in hours. The other thing that we need to look at is we cannot go backwards as a county with regard to, we've never been that backwards on treasurer, we want to maintain that, and we need to maintain our level of equalization in that equalization office. We cannot go backward on those. Those of you who've been on for quite a while, remember how painful getting us equalized as a county was, and we need to stay equalized as a county.
and I think.
My recommendation is 2 part-times.
Part-time. Here's my question. Are we full-time until the first of the year, or are we part-time as soon as we get a part-time person hired? So we're gonna have 2 part-time, one for mine, one for hers, is that the deal?
Or one part-time.
One for you two, one for Nyla. Nyla keep hers, you two share one.
Cutting that full-time,
A part-time.
full-time over here,
Yeah.
and making it a half. So they
I'm
become
willing
1
to,
and a half.
I'm willing to try it. I mean, no, I'm not saying I did it great, but I did it by myself for a long time. I've only had 2 in there for about 5 years.
That's my recommendation.
But now or later? Now or the
You
first
said
of the year?
2. Okay.
Well, that's
One for
a
Nyla,
part-time
one
share
for
Iowa,
Oh, I took him as he
a
meant 2.
part-time that's split between
Yeah.
the other 2.
So we'd each have around $500.
520.
Pardon me?
Leaving Nyla's alone.
Right.
It's a part-time and just hiring 1 part-time for the other 2 officers.
Okay.
Right.
Jim, what do you think?
This is a tough one. We have been very
Didn't say it
blessed
wasn't.
by first Micah being trained up in that office in Casey. I just have a feeling we get a part-time and we're never gonna have anybody trained in the office. I might be wrong, but that's,
But I guess, Jim, I'm looking at the whole overall picture.
well, I know.
I mean, just even what Kevin read off there, I mean, it's there. So, I mean, whether we start doing something right now or later, I'd just soon do something before the fact.
I can find out to Kevin, those revenue numbers, that cash applied in 2015 is 528. It's currently at 2,863,000. We're not, we're just halfway into the year.
I have a question. Are we gonna ask,
That's what Prince, I think, is told.
do you think we'll be asking anyone else besides Casey and I to take a cut?
Yes.
I just wanted to know that. I mean, cause I'm gonna have to tell people.
I will
So
be.
I want to have us straight, you know what I'm saying? Okay.
Is total for this year? They won't me down there. Good.
Okay, so now, what is the process we do now? Just
Well,
have,
Ryan, what do you suggest?
So you advertise for a part-time person, hire them under the understanding that after January 1st, they'll be split between 2 offices. Notify the position you're getting rid of that it'll be done as of December 31st and proceed.
Does that person have a chance to apply for the part-time?
Oh, I don't see what they wouldn't have
Okay.
an opportunity.
that person
yeah.
well, of course,
If they want.
if we
part-
want to.
Right, okay. But I think we would have to maybe start advertising soon for a part-time person, just to find one that's willing to do 1,040 hours, no benefits.
Not only that, I have zero help right now.
Right, that's why he said,
Yeah.
You need to get
advertise.
somebody in there right away.
What happens if,
And if you find somebody, they can get hired right away and get started.
Yes, good.
what happens, could we be in, it's in her budget, could somebody in my office start helping her out now, or, and take it out of her budget, or no? You know, so that her office is covered somewhat too, in case she needs to be gone or whatever.
Well, I would think that's probably what would have to happen. Guess I would think that would be
Just keep
the right
track
thing
of-
to do.
Keep track of the
Yes,
hours.
I would think, wouldn't you?
Shouldn't be a problem.
So I just have to make it understood that one position in my office is gone, but there is an opening for a part-time position between the assessor's office and the register of deeds office. For 1,040 hours, no benefits.
Right.
Okay.
Alrighty then, let's move on. What do we gotta go through next there, Becky?
Okay, where we going?
Did you say we all have to go through here?
Whatever changes you wanna make.
Okay, so let's,
Well-
state's attorneys, you're gonna have,
Mine won't change at all.
I don't.
4-H and jail will change, because
okay,
mine will be exactly the same as 2018, pretty much, because we're not taking a raise. And medical is going to be whatever medical is going to be. And then if we pick up 8 more hours for Brenda, that's gonna be out of the jail budget and not out of state's attorneys. And then we're cutting her 8 hours in 4-H. So those are the 2 budgets that will be changed. The jail budget will go up by 540 hours at 1718, or no, not even, be less than that. Whatever 8 hours a week is, times 52 is 410 hours. Something like that, 410 hours at that rate, jail budget will go up to pay for her doing the medical review. And then the 4-H budget will drop by 8 hours per week on staff at 1541.
Well, I think let's make this a little simpler. Has anybody got any changes that, since you looked at this at home? Just going down the line, I just have some questions going to the courthouse. And some stuff.
Ryan?
Go ahead, Scott.
What was the reason to raise the rentals? What was the reason behind that?
I think it's because we were getting behind a little. How much should we raise it to?
You went up to $1,200.
Okay,
What?
what's the expenditure at right now for the year?
$781.
I think that was part of the reason, is that that's basically rugs and that sort of stuff.
Is that what that's
Yeah,
for?
that's, a lot of it is rug bill and that sort of stuff.
Water.
And water, yeah, and I think
The water.
the wet water down there.
Wet water was
Okay.
not in there last
I think we
year.
were getting behind it, and that's why.
Right now, the current expenditures at the end of July was 905.
How come we went to bottled water?
Why are you asking me?
Well, I'm just asking I just looked at you. I'm just asking anybody, if anybody knows why we went to bottled water.
Mainly because the water fountain is, you can't hardly stand the taste of the water. And it was only on the second floor.
I obviously have no taste left because I actually made coffee out of the faucet, not even the water fountain. I filled my water out of the water faucet. I think that the water we're getting out of the fountain and the water we're getting out of the web bottles is the same water, basically.
I'll be honest, I can't drink the water, the Selby water at my place.
Really.
The water fountain is pretty bad, I'll admit, I like them.
It is.
But then we also buy
Selby's
bottled
wet,
water
but
too
it still has
downstairs
that-
for our own
That's neat.
use.
It's got a-
I'm just, yeah, I've smoked my taste away, I guess. I know,
I
I'm
got-
just asking,
on,
it's just a
Courthouse
question.
supplies, how come that number jumps all over? In 15, we were at 5,900, 16, 27,000, 17, 7,900. Do we know?
Depends on what we do.
Is that, what is the supplies though? I mean, what is that? Just,
Runs from, bathroom supplies, cleaning supplies, that sort of stuff.
Air
Or big-
purifiers.
Yeah, air purifiers, big purchases like that.
Okay.
Mower,
Purifiers.
I don't know if the mower came on
I
the
think-
supplies budget this year.
I guess
so-
it came out of the mold, that's where it was so high.
So,
Okay.
and it's just those kind of expenditures.
I just seemed like every other year we were like going from 5 to 27,000.
That's why I wondered if we really needed to be up there to 30,000. That was one of my questions.
And you know, we planned on specific projects, but you know, it's all up to you guys what you want done. I mean, we planned on doing things like finishing up the courtroom, doing the trim and some painting in there and that kind of stuff. I mean, the trim work's going to be a pretty big project in there.
But isn't that where the repairs is coming in?
Some of it comes out of there, but a lot of the repairs and maintenance one was for tuck pointing of the building.
Oh, okay.
Because that gets really expensive.
I
So
couldn't
that's a lot of
remember.
that.
Okay.
Yep.
We
That's
did,
all outside. Repairs and maintenance is all outside labor.
I couldn't remember
Yep.
what you said, so that's why I got it marked.
we took out the 5,000 though.
For the snow
Do
blower.
they
Yes.
still do
I don't know, I gotta
That's-
research that, because I know they used to, the prison used to have a tuck pointing course.
Yeah, we would go out and do tuck pointing on government buildings.
5,000 out of what?
We'll see if
That-
that.
The equipment
For snow blower.
for the snow blower,
Because
Yeah,
we already took that out.
but a lot of the stuff in the supplies line is for work that Dave would do himself. If we wanted to do some finishing in the garage in there too, I don't know, after looking at it, I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. Just trying to work around that, and it's so narrow in the first place to get the police vehicle in there. I honestly don't know if we could put a partition up and do what he'd like to see in there, so, I mean, that might be something that where we can take it down a little bit. Of course, I left my budget folder on my desk this morning, so I don't have all my stuff in front of me, but, off the top of my head, those are some of the bigger projects that we're gonna do.
Okay.
The tuck pointing for sure was a big one for repairs and maintenance.
Okay.
So, I mean, we're definitely open to whatever you think you'd like to see done. I mean, there's obviously a ton of maintenance things in this building that could be done. It's just have to do them as money allows, I guess.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you guys are caught in a position where a lot of stuff wasn't done for a lot of years. And now you're trying to catch that up, and it's costly.
I know another big one was phasing out ceiling tiles, replacing some of those, especially up in like the courtroom out there, painting the framing and replacing ceiling tiles and moving some of those down to patch in, but those get pretty spendy too, so that was coming out of the supplies one, the big one over there.
And they're painting the rail.
Yeah, trying to paint it, I don't know if it'll work or not, so.
You sure you can't have it replaced with new tile cheaper than messing with that?
I don't know, depends on how much time Dave has on his hands in the winter, I think is what it would boil down to.
Marion would know.
Yeah, he'd know better than we would, yeah.
I'm just
I
saying.
think you better suggest it.
If I'm painting it, I guarantee you can replace it a lot cheaper.
That was gonna be an in-house thing.
Okay, let's move to the next one.
Oh my
I just had a
gosh.
couple questions for you, Deb. On your supplies, did you say something, because you upped your supplies? Or you kept it the same, but I mean, you didn't hardly use anything last year.
I haven't used anything hardly yet, because what I normally do is in the fall, October and November. That's when I order all my paper, all my ink, all my stuff.
Okay.
So it looks good now. It just won't in December.
So your salary will go down though?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Becky will adjust all that stuff.
Okay.
And I kept, I think the services and fees, because we still have that, 20,000 every year to Beacon. Which, by the way, and I will remind that when we start adding layers on there and other people start using it, they could probably pitch in a year's worth of 20,000 to them instead of my office all the time.
Okay. If anybody's got it, then you should jump in. My next one, I just had some questions for Josh. Same thing there, services and fees.
Yep.
Because you, what was the reasoning again there? Because you upped that to 39,000?
Zerker records management that we did on that regional contract stuff. And then that'll come down after next year.
Okay.
So you have to stretch out over 2 years, don't you?
Yes.
And that was all the law enforcement uses jumped down. Is that right? Guys, that's what you need to do.
Okay, and we'll go to the jail, I guess. I was looking at the salary part of it there. What were you at, because you were at 7.5% there, what was, I can't figure out where.
On the top of that, it was talked about having Tina go full-time and being half paid out of the jail. But I don't know if that's something you guys wanna tackle or not.
I mean, because you didn't take, you were talking about part of his office in the
Yeah.
jail.
Yeah,
Because
splitting it.
Josh didn't put anything in the sheriff's part of it.
Cause he already pays for her half
I'm
now.
already paying half of hers already.
Yeah.
So I mean, I did make an adjustment in the
Yeah, because you
insurance
just went with
portion.
3%.
Right, and then whatever you guys decided, whatever that was gonna be, obviously, we're thinking something else right now, but because she does a lot of the spreadsheets and stuff, and what the record keeping portion of it.
And like the jail repairs, was there something big coming up or?
I just put 75 in there. I didn't know if you guys want to leave it at 50, you can. It's all gonna depend on what happens here in a few months anyway. You know, it's hard to say.
I guess I would just as soon see it stay at about 50,000 instead of, what's the rest of you feel?
That's what I did written down here, is 50,000.
Because the only thing I had increased it for was, you know, the stupid generator part, whatever decides with that. You know, if we gotta tackle that part of it.
You guys changed it to 30,000 at the last budget meeting.
Which last one?
The last meeting we just had.
Yeah, you guys said to build 30,000 in there.
So you want 30 or 50?
Yeah. Which one?
I didn't know we did it.
You didn't write down that number, I guess, I'm sorry.
My number was from before.
Realistically, if that's the case, and depending on what this election process does, do we need to have even 50,000 in there?
Depending on this election, this whole thing could change,
Exactly.
so.
What would that generator deal cost us to?
It was roughly.
I'd have to look again, Marion, but there was a joint quote from Cummins Diesel and Quenzer Electric who's installing this one, and it was right around 17 or 18, I believe, total for the two. The guy that came and did from Cummins Diesel, he told me a price, but it came in higher. But a lot of that is mileage to come and get it. That part went up.
Can we just use that as a number for the repairs and maintenance for this next deal, so we know we got that covered if we have, for some reason, this other thing falls through and we have to put a generator deal over there? Get that up and going?
I guess I would ask for just a little bit more than 20, just in case there's
30 if they
something else happens.
Let's go with
30?
For plumbing issues and whatnot. If you could leave it a little higher.
Where's the gas for the jail coming out of?
Sheriff's supplies.
That comes out of mine.
It comes out of supplies?
Correct.
Way I got it figured out how to pay for the others. I guess I don't understand why you're driving a vehicle back and forth every day.
You would have to ask him.
That alone would pay for the 8 hours easily. You're putting on 2,000 miles a month.
Roughly.
I don't understand why you need a vehicle to drive back and forth every day.
You know, this
Are you
morning I
directing
brought
that
one
at me or
over.
him?
This morning I brought one over from the PD that they had arrested.
I understand your time should start when you get here, not when you leave your house. That's my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. And especially if you're a jail administrator, why is it coming out of the sheriff's budget?
That I don't know.
Because they don't separate the gas out. It's always come out of the sheriff's budget.
That's my opinion, and I don't understand why you would need a vehicle to drive back and forth every day. That's a huge benefit, actually. I know what it costs me to drive over and back with my pickup.
Well, I know he picks up the groceries, he's in charge of that. He does, like this morning and several other times, there's times that I have him go out to the hospital until someone can get there. It takes a law enforcement officer to do those jobs. So,
Does time start when he gets here, or by the time he leaves his house?
as soon as as soon as he's out in the vehicle, he's at work. He carries a phone like I do. He takes all the jail calls, which they call frequently, as they should.
As a supervisor, I would think they would.
It's a pretty good benefit for just leaving,
That's my
driving to work.
That would more than pay for the 8 hours that we're gonna have Brenda. If we're talking cuts, I think that should be one of the cuts. That's your decision, but that's my opinion.
It's a big expense when you figure out just for the vehicle, insurance, everything. It's a big expense. We can just
Well,
discuss that.
I guess what's the board think? I got one commissioner that's talking, but I'm not hearing the rest. And one's absent. I guess I'll.
Well, I feel like this record thing that we're spending the money on to have it done and have balances, which I like that concept, but that should be coming out of the jail, and we just keep increasing that. We're virtually keep increasing the jail salary, and to me, that's an area that we could get those funds. I mean, we've taken the jail salary, gone from $357,000 in 2015 to $590, and now we're looking at, well, I guess we freeze the salary, so but $590,000, that's $230,000 of growth in that jail salary.
Yeah, I realize that.
My understanding is his position is supposed to be basically the head in the jail that really shouldn't partake to anything else than right here. I mean, his position as the administrator of the jail, his job should start when he gets here, not
So you shouldn't carry a phone anymore? Those calls should come to me or a deputy?
No, I don't think so. I think that they're part, but I mean, as far as the car, the vehicle driving back and forth, I guess I feel that position really should start here as the jail administrator.
Okay. I was just clarifying.
I mean, he's still gonna have phone calls, and I would hope that those people would be calling if there's problems.
Yep, those aren't gonna go away.
Jim, what's your feeling?
I think it's a small saving for the benefit the county gets for public safety. I know Justin has answered emergency calls and many other things too. Now, yeah, that's not part of the jail, but he's still certified law enforcement. He's answered emergency calls and taking calls when other sheriff staff couldn't make it as quick or were busy elsewhere.
But you know, it is a pretty good expense, Jimmy, it's just like the other offices that are gonna take cuts, you know, to have that vehicle to drive back and forth for your job. And I'm not saying he doesn't do anything else, but the bottom line is that is a lot what that vehicle's being used for to come to work. I don't know how else you look at it. I mean, I know that there's other things in between, but the bottom line is that is transportation to work.
But if you take it away, then being able to use him in an emergency situation is over.
Technically,
You can't answer a call at the bridge if another officer needs help or something in his personal vehicle.
Okay. Technically, according to the resolution, what does the sheriff have? You've got a sheriff, 2 deputies, and 2 part-time. Is that what the resolution stated? That doesn't involve Justin. According to the resolution that we agreed on. Justin wouldn't be a part of that resolution. The resolution said sheriff, 2 deputies, and 2 part-timers for 1,040 hours.
There's some of our part-timers we don't use that often, right, Josh?
What's that, Jim?
There's some of our part-time people we don't use 1,000 hours.
No, because he works, the only time that he's available is weekends. He can't work anything during the week. But I said I'd have him on, maybe catch him on a holiday where he can. But I use him when I can.
What I'm saying is, just going by that, and for the fact that as an administrator, I think the job should start when he gets here. And a vehicle, having a county vehicle to go back and forth from home to here is not necessary. That alone would pay for the other part of it, to have checks and balances, and get the money that Brenda's saving us.
I hate to see us give up that option of public safety. I know he has answered emergency calls. And when it's an emergency, it needs someone there as quick as possible. He's in that area, he's in the Mobridge area, none of our other ones aren't. I don't know where Aaron lives.
He lives in Mobridge.
But if he's out on a call, or out on the road somewhere else, I'm only one voice.
Then we should have changed the resolution.
But I guess don't take this the wrong way, but I mean, to me, I look at our law enforcement the same as highway patrols too. I mean, they're not God. They can't have somebody in every area. I mean, that's not even humanly possible. So what I'm saying is, I mean, just for us to have 2 law enforcement vehicles in Mobridge for maybe that time, I mean, to me, I mean, what I'm getting at is, I mean, we got highway patrolmen here. I don't know what they got in Mobridge, I don't keep track, but I'm just saying, if Tom Hannon has to go to Mobridge coming out of Selby, I mean, that's, I guess, yeah.
And the DOT.
But I'm just using that for an example. That's all I'm using as an example here. I'm just saying, for us to have all that law enforcement in every town, I mean, that means we should have one in a Casco.
Not necessarily in every town, because Aaron does not spend his 8-hour shift in Oakridge, or in the 3-mile radius of Oakridge or whatever.
But what I'm
he could be
really getting at is for us to make sure that there is a vehicle there. I don't think that's
make sure a vehicle there. It's just that we have a person that is equipped to help in an emergency or when needed. Like if they're, I better not be getting into too many details. There is times when you need more than 1 or 2 officers at the scene.
And I'm not saying that they don't. That's not at all what I'm saying. What we're getting, what Kevin's getting at, I'm pretty sure, is just to have that vehicle. I mean, that's a huge expense. I mean,
and I think it's a benefit to the public safety in the county. That's all I'm saying. I think it's a benefit. I think the more of them we can have on the road and out where they're visible, the better off we are.
Then if that's the case, we should change the resolution.
We probably discuss that at another time, you know.
That's
right
what
now.
the resolution states is.
If Justin's sitting over here and they have calls, he's not going to that call.
What's that?
Are you gonna leave the jail
It depends if I'm helping them out and they're busy or gone. You know,
He's had to cover for calls.
I've
you know,
covered
When he
before.
had to do transports and stuff.
they've had to run a vehicle in Aberdeen or something, and I took an accident a couple weeks ago on Main Street in Sylvia here.
Yes. Yeah,
If we're looking for cuts, that would be one that I would say that, that's one that we could cut. Not popular, it's not popular with what we did with their offices either, but
You're
that's
not
what
looking
I'm
at,
saying.
you're not looking at eliminating the vehicle, you're looking
No,
at
but-
eliminating the transportation back and forth, just having the vehicle here, and then when he's here, if there is a
What
call.
is it saving us in gas and wear and tear on the vehicle and everything else? That alone would more than pay for.
I understand the meaning of cuts, believe you me.
So, we're making cuts,
So
that's
I
my
do,
suggestion.
gals.
It's not a popular one, but that's my suggestion.
Well, I'd like a roll call vote, get everybody in, who's in favor of what. Park in the vehicle and be used for emergency zoning, reducing that travel.
That's my
Well,
recommendation.
I was gonna say, I'm positive that's what you're getting at, is to use it when you're here, not over there, when you come to work.
So he would still obviously be able to use it to go get the groceries and stuff like that.
Yeah,
his
that's
normal-
fine.
His normal routine.
Correct.
Well, I would think so, and then it would be a spare vehicle, so if needed be, it would be here.
Okay. Is there anything else in there?
In your jail, going down to jail, personal supplies in the jail, jail personal care, we have nothing in there, and we have nothing in the over-the-counter medications.
We already discussed that, we included that in supplies, so we're gonna get rid of those specific little line items. that-
Okay, I'm sorry, that's
We
right.
It's
can-
just
yeah.
more,
Okay, all right, I just saw that.
That was to clear up some
Okay.
muddy waters, and Becky came and met with us on that.
so I have a question with this, what was just decided, are we gonna decrease the supplies in the sheriff's, being that the gas is gonna go down, or? I just need to know for entering for the budget. Is it-
What did you figure that would say?
I'm sure it'd save at least 5,000 a year, not more. I think we could realistically take the sheriff's supplies to 45 or 47. Just take it to 47 for the, I mean, there's a lot of other things for supplies too. You have nothing for jail, oh, the jail cleaning supplies are gonna go under supplies too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, realistically, Justin, how many times do you go, I mean, do you, to the grocery store, I'm just gonna use that for example, I mean, how many times do you, I mean, do you say, okay, on Wednesday, I'm gonna go grocery shopping?
I'm gonna try and do it
I mean, do you just,
once a week, unless
Once a
we run
week?
into something. If there's meds I gotta get meds, I can't wait on them.
I mean, I was just kinda curious how you schedule this.
You know, and it depends on what the availability is of stuff, because try and do it minimally. I mean, it makes sense to do it when I'm on my way over. If I'm there in town already, why come over, go back, go over again? That
But you
just
can't get
doesn't make
meds at
sense.
7:30 in the morning.
No, but if I got other shopping to do, I'll do that first, then I can get meds and come over. Instead of making 2 trips, doesn't make sense to put that many miles on. Because it varies when I need meds, because it all depends on who's running out at what time.
So 47 on supplies? Is that what you guys changed stuff to?
That's what I got.
And you figured it's gonna be about 5,000 that a person's gonna save, is that what it is?
It's hard to figure in the wear and tear.
Well, no, you ain't gonna figure that in.
But if in this deal here, the supplies is just the fuel,
No, it's not just fuel, it's cleaning supplies.
no, I'm just saying for what he's saving, if we don't drive over, what we're saving off of this item would be just the fuel, right? Off the sheriff's, isn't that what we're saying?
Are you on sheriff or jail, Kevin?
Well,
Sheriff's
I'm on sheriff because that's where the fuel is being paid for.
So we're changing that one to 47. For the
I guess that's what
savings.
my question is, and I think that's what you were asking, is how much gas are we saving
You know,
that would be subtracted off of that?
if you do my average, I don't know, our last bid was 220, 226 a gallon.
I can't remember. Off the top of my head.
I'll just say 230, I don't know what the hell it was. Times 52, it's about $1,450 in gas for the year. 15, depending on the price of gas. I average about 12 gallons a week. 12 to 15, depending on if there's an extra trip.
Set of tires a year.
Okay, we'll put it at 47 then.
What I put down,
Is the tires coming out of that same, for that vehicle, does that come out of that same account?
I believe so.
If they're bought from Graham, they come out of supplies, and, the balance, mounting and balance would come out of repairs and maintenance. Oil changes come out of repairs
For
and
the
maintenance.
maintenance. Anything else in sheriff?
Nope.
Anything else in jail?
nothing.
Nope, you answered everything. All right, let's move on.
The emergency and disaster. Page 28. I had a question on the current expenditure there of the Supplies, 30,000?
That's the generator.
Okay, all right.
That was a grant, right?
Yeah, but we don't get reimbursed until afterwards.
Okay.
I guess we gotta get that done, don't we?
Yeah, I've already looked into it.
By the 31st, right?
It's, yeah, some of them had to be done by the end of June, but this one doesn't have to be done until the end of the year. So now Lucas is taking over on it, on that project.
I just had that number jumped out there when I was going through it.
Okay, I don't have anything till weed control. The services and fees, why do we got 45,000 wrote down there? What was the reason for that again?
Because that was if we were gonna contract out instead of having an employee.
Yeah. Is that what we figure it's gonna be for just contracting out, is 45,000?
It was just a number.
We won't find anybody, Campbell County can't find anybody to do it.
Which page are you on?
47.
But Dave's doing it, correct?
Right,
Now,
Yeah.
so it won't be 45,000.
Okay, but I mean, should we change that number though, right now, or leave it
Yeah.
where it's at?
No, I would maybe drop it to 20.
for what?
Well, no,
Whatever your wage would be
It's
for
a wage,
like
right.
1,000.
Yeah, and I went in and I
put.
put, 17,500 in for salary, and then,
You're talking weed and pest salary?
yeah,
17,500?
Yeah, 1,040.
that's what I put in, just to make some adjustments to account for it. That was before knowing any salary, any amount agreed upon by the weed board or anything, I just put that in there just to switch things up.
Okay,
Instead
so
of
what
just
are we
having
gonna,
45,000.
what are we gonna do with services and fees then? Change that to,
what all would that include? That wouldn't include repairs or anything, it just,
No, see, the issue with the services and fees is before we were doing, we had to pay, what was it, Mid-Dakota Penny to spray foreground.
Yeah.
And then we were reimbursed, but we still had to have it come out of the budget. Well, that hasn't happened for some reason for the last 2 years. I don't know the reasoning behind it. I don't know if it's gonna start back up again.
I think it's a grant that has to be applied for.
Well,
There's
no,
a
because,
weed and pest meeting that one of the commissioners or one of the weed board members has to go with the
no, that's
sprayer.
for the $6,000 that we get reimbursed from the state for expenses for weed control. That don't have anything to do with that core ground issue, and I don't know if they're not running it through the county now. I don't know if they're not spraying. I don't know what's going on with that.
I think that went a different direction.
you need to check into that, Dave, or
The weed board. Yeah. But like I said, it hasn't happened for 2 years. I don't know the reasoning. That has, I mean, we were just a flow through, basically.
That
We'd
could-
get paid, we'd pay them.
That could have changed when the Corps deeded a bunch of that land over to Game Fish and Parks.
Yeah.
why don't we change that down to 500?
Okay.
Which one? You're probably right.
Services and fees.
Services
Wasn't that about the
and
same
fees.
time frame?
Same
Couple, 3
thing,
years ago.
yeah.
2 years ago,
From
yeah.
the 45,000 to 500.
And they just do their own.
Okay. Anything else?
Repairs and maintenance, we're gonna have to put something in there.
Yeah, I did not put anything in there. Supplies, I don't know. You guys had nothing before. Supplies, I had put 10,000. And
Is that what you want in supplies, is 10,000?
well, like I said, I just put a number in because there was nothing when that was done. I don't
Does
know.
that include the spray?
That's chemical, that's where that comes out of. So I don't know if that needs to go up or what.
In 17, we spent 31,000. I mean,
seems like, didn't we buy a bunch of chemical at the end of the year last year?
It was prepaid a bunch because, there was money left. But that was also, I think, because we budgeted for that core ground stuff and it wasn't used, so I think that's why they prepaid a bunch of
So we
chemicals.
wanna take that
And
to
we're
15,000 then, or?
We're still discussing a GPS deal. We thought that Jake had it bought and they was waiting to get it installed, but it doesn't appear that that's the case.
And I did get information from him on who he was in contact with, so I was gonna contact them when I had time.
But that would be, wouldn't that come under auto and major equipment
No.
for a
Come out of
GPS unit?
supplies.
That would come under supplies, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I would think you should have somewhere around the 15 or something like that in there.
Yeah. I don't remember now.
Spray,
Like I said, I thought Jake said he had it bought or spoke for or something, you know, we had to do getting installed, but whatever it was, it didn't happen.
Okay, so what are you gonna put in for supplies, 15,000?
You remember what
Pretty
that
close.
GPS deal cost?
No, because we never actually got a quote from the people that are in Wyoming. Jake spoke to him out at the convention and that was, we never got an amount from him on that. The quotes we received were from like Butler and John Deere and, you know.
Yeah, John Deere was extremely expensive for a new one.
Well, Butler was, well, both were extremely expensive, but I don't think this other place was near that expensive. 4 or 5 or something, it seems like, but I don't wanna.
Came back from that.
I would think 15 should cover it. As near as I know, other than some chemical, I think we're gonna have quite a lot left over.
I put 15 down.
Would be just the GPS deal.
Travel, we're gonna have to put something in there for
Travel, I put 800 in there.
And repairs and maintenance, you're gonna have to put
Yeah.
500.
Oh, I would maybe add a little more to that.
I was thinking more than 2,000.
Yeah. I don't know what that little, I don't think that little arm deal or that little electric cylinder deal is gonna be that expensive, but
That'll be,
I don't think you get much anymore for 200. Anyway, at my camp either.
I would think you should have somewhere around that 2,000 when it comes to that stuff on there, and it's sprayer.
About utilities.
That's a cell phone. Penny's gonna get him one on her plan and it's going to be about $40 a month.
$35 a month. That's what she said. But I don't know if that includes the taxes and stuff. She
Yeah,
said.
so.
35, 40, yeah.
Does that include the phone?
480, 500 bucks.
So we'll leave it at 5 and a quarter. What it had last year.
All right, 525. Okay.
Zoning, Greg and I sat down and looked over that. And decreased like the salary because now there's no zoning board getting paid where they were getting paid $50 per meeting. Greg thought 3,000 would be fine in the salary. Left 2,500 in services and fees just in case we need an ECOG. Lowered the supplies to 500 and the travel to 500.
You said salary at 3,000?
Yeah.
Okay, Penny, I guess I have a couple questions on yours. Are we still in you getting a new blade again next year yet? I thought, when are we on the 7 year?
It's after next year.
It is after next year. Okay.
Yep, then they'll all be on the 7-year rotation.
What's personal services?
What are you talking about?
Which one is this?
Page 62.
911 services and fees.
Oh, okay, yeah, 911. That's
Money
what
we receive from the state, we just give it to the city of Mulbridge.
Okay.
That's all I have. Anybody else have anything?
I just got one question, I probably get tarred and feathered for asking it, but I know I'm gonna get asked. And we're cutting this staff over here, we're gonna cut one of Becky's deputies to halftime.
How are we gonna come up with replacing the work?
I didn't say that, I just know I'm gonna get asked, so
Well,
I thought.
we could cut one entirely and then hire a human resources director, because that's all one does anymore.
Like I said, I knew.
And then the weed board should probably hire somebody, and the emergency management, and anytime we have special meetings.
I know I'm gonna get asked, so that's why I asked.
No, I'm answering.
No, I'm not.
I'm just gonna ask this, because I waited through this all, but I'm gonna get asked who else took a cut. I know I'm gonna get asked that, so what should my answer be? Because I'm gonna have to explain this before this comes out on the website.
Sheriff's Department.
5,000. Right? Of their supplies. Because mine comes, if I take a quarter person, I'm more than willing to try. You have to realize that that comes to about a $40,000 cut. So I'm gonna get asked that question, like who else took that kind of a cut? Or where else are you thinking that kind of a cut can come from? And I'm definitely gonna get asked the question, and you know that too, that Jim just asked. I'm definitely gonna get asked that.
That's fine.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, we're making cuts, but I mean, could there be other cuts made yet? It's not saying that it couldn't happen, but
That's the one made today, is what you're saying. This is not the end of the budget process.
very
There
possible.
could be more to come.
It's very possible.
Okay.
We haven't even had the first reading yet. This is all just preparatory yet.
Okay. That's what,
Anything's very possible.
that's what.
All right. Okay, we're going,
We got other things.
any more discussion there with the budget? I didn't think so, but. 26, old business.
It's just not where it was now.
Couldn't have been important then.
Word on there. Old business, I think the only thing I had was Malstead Lake. Penny said that they went in and mowed around. I haven't, it's being used, but it needs a mowing really bad and it's pretty thick. I don't know if your mower will even go through that.
Yeah, you can only raise the deck up to about 5 inches, I think, on that one.
The weeds are
Out there,
How tall are they?
5-6 feet tall in the parking lot area.
5-6 feet?
Yeah. That's what the mower told me.
Get a chainsaw.
Huh?
Let's get a chainsaw, trim trees.
Yeah, that's.
Somebody had a bush hog, that would work the best.
All I got is a weed whacker with the poly blade head on it, and that'd take forever probably, so.
How about a sickle?
Actually, a sickle probably.
Go in there with the sickle and drop it and cut them. I mean, you're gonna have
Radius.
problem is gonna be, they'll dry up and shrivel up, but blowing into piles, I don't know if I could.
Well, the only thing is right inside where the swing sets and stuff are, you wouldn't be able to get in
No.
there with a sickle.
But I mean, the majority of the area, if you could
Majority.
do a sickle and cut them down and then take out, I don't know who would have one of those hedgehog deals.
Anybody got a PTO, just a 3-point mower? Go through there with a little tractor?
I mean,
Is that something our weed person should be aware of in the future, like next year? Spray that
Spray it
with
down.
LB6 or something so we don't get them weeds.
I know Jake was out there this year too.
Yeah, he sprayed,
Yeah, the weeds always grow.
so I mean, what are you trying to find, a rotary mower or?
Something just to
Get rid of it, knock them down.
get it knocked down.
But I mean, is there room to drive? I mean, are the trees hanging over, or then they gotta get around?
You can get around in there.
Yeah, they didn't have any trouble going in with tractors yesterday. There's a lot of
There's a
trees
lot of
laying around.
Branches and stuff still laid around too. So,
I thought somebody was gonna come and get that for firewood.
most of it
Dave said
is,
something about somebody coming and getting the firewood.
Yeah.
most of it, I don't see any firewood laying around out there.
No trees to cut up for firewood.
I think
Well,
Ronnie
they
had
said
a
they were
couple
about
guys
this
that come out on a regular basis, didn't he?
About 4 feet, 5
Cut
feet.
firewood.
Could I bring a loader in there and
I
back
won't
drag?
take my tape measure out there.
Just back drag
Yeah.
the weeds out? I know there's wood chips on
I
the
didn't
parking
sell it.
area there.
I don't
At least
know,
get
but
that
I'm
knocked
just-
down and then.
Yeah, that's not. Yes.
I don't know.
Midway probably. Well, that's the
I
order
know,
about this tall.
Marvin has that old tractor with
I was just going.
PTO is on it,
Probably certain-
rotary mower. Down at the
Yeah,
yard.
3 to 4 feet. They're
I
tall.
can get in there with
You're
that.
not gonna
Just
get
set it up, 8-10 inches and do a first cut and then
Go back
let it dry out and then do a second cut or something.
I'll work on that. But I do have something for new business.
All right. New business.
I talked to Angie Marin about the possibility of if we could get it approved about draining off the 4 corners there on Sitka Road that has the sloughs on all 4 corners, just north of the Prairie Pillow there. She said that she didn't think that we would be able to for some reason, but I think we need to check with either the state or somebody about if we could drain that through her place. It actually starts off up at Beeman's and comes all the way down there, but that's where it all congregates, is right there.
Yeah, Rick goes right on the west side of her house, there's a rock crossing there. Right west of her
It was
house.
cleaned out many, many years ago, so can we check with the state about getting it cleaned out again? Because she was saying that with CRP, I don't know if they would let you come in and do that.
That's what I was gonna say, if anybody's in any kind of farm program, unless they call, I don't think you could drain it.
No, it's wetland.
Can't drain a wetland.
Can't
No.
drain wetland.
But it
I
could
guess if
be-
you get the proper paperwork, you can clean it out to where the water depth was, where it was.
I don't think it's ever been declared as a wetland, though.
Oh, I bet still there's water standing there.
Well,
Yeah.
who declared it a wetland if
USDA
they
government.
already drained it before?
That was done before Tommy Daschle got that in. I got a wetland down there, well, right west of your fields down there. Never any water sets in there, but it's considered a wetland in that hayfield there. That little dip right east of the road going south of my house in Merrill's is considered a wetland.
Andy should be able to get maps from ASCS that tells you whether it's a wetland or not. Whether it's highly erodible and or a wetland.
Sometimes they'll let you alter a wetland if you're going to guarantee them you'll make a bigger space.
Or
Wetland,
replace.
see, when they redone the road coming out of Casco West back in '91, the only way the government let them go widen that road out enough to get it paved was they went back on mine and dug that dugout back there to the north of the road, north of the wetland. You know, the only way they would allow them to widen that road out. That's what the engineers told me. Is they had to provide more space for wetland than what was there before. So I got to do that.
Can we check on it, or?
Well, yeah, you sure check on it. And I think the right paperwork, they'll let you drain it back down to the elevation it was when it was, I don't know just how they do that. I know Larry Thompson's tried to do some of that up there in Campbell
I
County.
know Combs don't want it, Geese's don't want it.
Yeah, I don't think it makes any difference to the government who wants it.
But I mean, there's no question about it, I mean, holy buckets, I mean, you have to get some in there to survey that to even see how far down it's gotta be dug.
And I don't know that should be a county deal. I think that's a private deal anyway.
Private property.
But then if it's possible, then we're gonna have to put culverts in too, to drain it from one side to the other.
Well, there is culverts in there, isn't there?
Yeah. Equalizer.
I said I would bring it up. I don't know who to check with at the state level or whatever, but.
U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service maintains national wetland inventory maps.
Those are all farmers that are all probably in the programs that you're gonna have to check with ASC.
That'd probably be a good place if a guy wants to ask.
What's that?
Yeah, it is private land.
Any other new business?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion on the floor, need a second? All in favor, say aye.
Bring it down, stop.